continue from where I stopped last time. So, like the Buddha said, the feeling is emptiness, perception is emptiness, mental formation is emptiness, consciousness is emptiness. So now, feeling is emptiness does not mean that we don't have feelings or we should not feel, or we should freeze our feelings or shut down our feelings. That's not the meaning of emptiness of feeling, or that is not the aim or the meaning or message of talking about feeling of the emptiness or emptiness of feeling. So now the feeling is part of human being. Every creature, sentient being, has feeling. Actually, I should say here a few words about sentient being. So when we talk about sentient being, we pray for all sentient beings. We pray that we would like to become enlightened for the benefit of all sentient beings. We do our dedication, end of the meditation or end of the sadhana practice. We dedicate our merit, good karma, for the enlightenment for all sentient beings. So sentient being, what is sentient being? And Tibetan word for sentient being is Dowa Semjen Tamche. Dowa means the one who walks or one who moves, and Semjen means one who has consciousness and mind. So the definition of sentient being is the creature that has mind, that has feelings, and that walk by itself or move by itself, like worms or like insects, and small insects, tiny things, move by itself, and it got feelings. Even the worms, earthworms, are feeling, and when you're digging earth and the worms don't like exposed bright sun or heat, then trying to get back into the dirt. So feeling, we have lots of feelings, and so generally we have three kinds of feelings: a happy feeling, unhappy feeling, and a neutral feeling. Or mentally. Physically we have pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling, and neutral feelings. This is part of human nature. So, but it's not simple like simple, because the different feelings, emotions, and creates lots of activities in our mind and body. It gives you lots of joy or happiness and excitement and pleasure, or at the same time it can give us pain and suffering and emotional destruction, or makes unstable, and then all sorts of defilements, mental defilements arise, sorrow, sadness, nostalgic feelings about past, going back to the past, and so forth. So lots of defilements, mental defilements arising due to the feelings, and we create a lot of karma and unwholesome karmas. And we can also create wholesome karmas, good karma, and virtuous karma as well. But most of the time, generally speaking, sentient beings create more unwholesome karmas than wholesome karmas, because they don't know what is wholesome and what is karma even. And they don't know how to create wholesome karmas, virtuous karmas. The negative karma, unwholesome karmas are easy to create and easy to commit. So anyway, the feeling is very, very big part of our life. And for that reason, Heart Sutra, you can see in the Heart Sutra, the feeling is, Avalokiteshvara said, feeling is emptiness. One should meditate on it. Look at first, whatever you feel. So, and first you sit and meditate or observe your feelings, right? You have to know your feelings. And once you know your feeling, that's already start. This is the beginning. And the beginning of the path is the beginning of the solution. Once you know what it is, then you feel less fear or less kind of like a panic. It's like sickness. If you don't know what is going on, it's scary. You could panic, right? But that's why you go to the doctor and you do examination and check up. And once you know what it is, then you feel, not so bad, or what can I do? And there is a medication and so on and so forth. You know how to heal yourself and beginning like that. So first you meditate and observe the feeling, and then you know what kind of feeling is, pleasant or unpleasant or indifferent feeling. And then if you relax yourself, looking at, observing at feeling, slowly the feeling will subside itself, and there will be less and less feeling, or at least you're familiar with your feelings, so you don't have to panic, and there's no scare. You don't get scared, and so this is why meditation on awareness is very important. Mindfulness meditation is important. Mindfulness of feeling, awareness of feeling is important, and not only that, awareness of emptiness of feeling is important, because the feelings are changed all the time. They don't stay all the time one way or the other, and like the clouds that come and go, and like the weather change. And so if you are patient and just accept the way it is, the weather is changing, it's a mother nature, there's not much you can do. It's better you practice patience. Like that, if you look at your feelings, then you feel better. And meditate on emptiness of feeling. Then perception. And the perception is emptiness. Emptiness is also perception. This is actually very interesting here. Perception is emptiness. When you look at the perception and your perception change, you have a certain way of thinking, certain way of seeing things, and you have certain projections on certain type of people or group of people, and now your perception has changed. You don't have a negative perception anymore. You have positive perception, right? Whatever. Perception has changed. Perception is impermanent. Perception is emptiness of inherent, and it's emptiness. It does not exist inherently, because you see your perception is changing. And that's why Heart Sutra indicating, or you see in the Heart Sutra, perception is emptiness. Now, emptiness is also perception. So the emptiness of the perception is perception. Where does the emptiness of the perception come from? The emptiness of the perception comes from your perception. Your perception is labeling the emptiness of perception. Your perception is labeling also perception, right? And it's so therefore perception is emptiness, and emptiness of perception. And likewise, mental formation. Mental formation is a subtle perception. So there's a little bit different between mental formation and subtle perception. And third skanda and fourth skanda, there are small differences, not a big difference. As it said that perception is like you walk in to the temple, you see inside the temple there is statues, there is paintings, tankas and so forth. That's your perception. Then you pay more attention and more details about what kind of statue is this, what kind of tanka is this. Oh, this tanka is Avalokiteshvara, this tanka is Tara, this tanka is Manjushri, and then what kind of Manjushri is this? Black Manjushri, white Manjushri, or orange Manjushri? And what kind of style of painting is this? Who painted? Tibetan style or Nepalese style? Or maybe if it's old tanka, maybe it's ancient Indian style or Chinese style, right? So details, that kind of subtle perception is called mental formation. That's the fourth skanda. Fifth skanda is the consciousness, the mind. Okay, so then now you're going into the mind, and mind is emptiness, and true nature of the mind is emptiness. The Prajnaparamita Sutra, another Prajnaparamita Sutra, 8,000 verses, and states true nature of the mind is empty, and true nature of the mind is clear light. As I mentioned this before, the mind doesn't exist within the mind. The true nature of the mind is clear light. So why do we say mind doesn't exist within the mind? What does that mean? Well, this is the meaning. Mind doesn't exist within mind means that your mind is meditating on your mind. Your mind is the subject, your mind is the object. And usually we say the subject, the mind, is coarse mind, object mind is subtle mind. Okay, so your mind to mind. And but it is questionable, and actually the subject object mind is the subtle mind or not, because your mind is jumping around and you don't really see subtleness of the mind. So I think if you're an advanced meditator or yogi, you could see the object of your mind is subtle one. Until that, probably hard to see subtle one. Your mind is all over the place. In any case, one thing for sure, your mind is subject and object, both. Okay, so mind to mind. So when you meditate, subject mind meditating the object mind, so then you don't find another mind, separate mind, then a subject mind. They're not separate. Okay, so this is why it says mind doesn't exist within the mind. So something kind of like you have a box, then you have put something else inside the box, different things. Not like that. It's not separate thing. It's mind, just mind. It's mind to mind, same mind. Okay, so, and mind doesn't exist within the mind, and something separate mind, within doesn't exist within mind means something separate doesn't exist. And true nature of the mind is clear light, and cognizer, or you could say recognizer. If you're seeing second time, it's a recognizer. And also, according to Pramanavartika Buddhist philosophy, the definition of mind is Selshing Rigpa. In Tibetan word, Selshing Rigpa. Selshing, clear and knowing, clear and knower. Selshing, clear. Rigpa is knower, clear and knower. That's the definition of mind. So now, mind doesn't exist inherently or independent. Sometimes you might think mind does exist inherently because mind is subtle And most subtlest thing, no one really knows what mind is. Maybe mind is inherent existence, and something. It's easy to see the impermanence and emptiness of the form and feeling, because they keep changing, perceptions, but mind is something very, very subtle. Then you might think, mind doesn't exist inherently independent? No, mind doesn't exist inherently independent, because if you meditate on the mind, you don't find inherently existent mind or independently existent mind. There is no one mind or many mind, this or that. And what is mind? So mind is basically a collection of thoughts, or you could say procession of thoughts. Like you see that people have a parade or traffic, one car after another car. It's like that, so many thoughts coming and going. And so mind doesn't exist inherently or independent. This is the meaning of emptiness of mind. And does not exist inherently independent, but mind do, of course, exist, and on a relative level, on conventional level. And the mind is the root of everything. Our mind is the cause of our happiness. Our mind is our cause of our suffering. And this is the ordinary mind. And Gampopa, the great Tibetan Buddhist master, Gampopa, he was a Mila Rinpoche's disciple. Gampopa said, the root of samsara is ordinary mind. And so it actually means we don't see the mind as a Buddha nature. We don't see there's a Buddha nature within every mind, every sentient being. So this is an ordinary mind that is ignorant and deluded. And that's the root of samsara. Once you see the Buddha nature within you, and Tathagata Garbha, the potential of the Buddha, and then is no longer ordinary. And once you experience emptiness of the mind, your mind is no longer ordinary mind, right? And because you have wisdom of shunyata, and it's no longer empty, and no longer the root of samsara. Otherwise, it's a root of samsara, and ordinary mind. Okay, so this is why you meditate on emptiness of consciousness, emptiness of mind. So now, Shariputra, likewise, Avalokiteshvara said, Shariputra, likewise, you should look, all phenomena are emptiness. Chö Tamje, Tongbaji in Tibetan word, Chö Tamje means all phenomena are emptiness. And Senyi Meba, emptiness of definition, unborn, unceasing, unending, and undefiled, and so forth. And there is no defilement, there is no emptiness of defilement, there is no beginning, there is no end, and so on and so forth. Also, emptiness of sense consciousness. Here in the Heart Sutra, it states, sense consciousness are also empty of inherent existence. For example, eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. And here Tibetan word is mig me, nawa me, na me, che me, lu me, yi me, zu me, da me, tre me, ro me, rija me, che me do. So all the senses, eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind are emptiness. Likewise, the object of eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, like form, sound, smell, taste, touchable, touchable, all these things are emptiness, because they do not exist inherent, they have no inherent nature. They keep changing all the time. They're dependent arising. And likewise, all the elements. And then go on. For example, birth, death, old age, sickness, and are all emptiness. Emptiness means inherent existence. They don't last forever and ever. And when you look at what is birth, what is death, what is the sickness, and so forth, these are the labels imputing, right? And for example, birth, like, okay, we're born here in this world, and actually the birth started at the first moment of the conception inside the mother's womb. When you're born, when you come out, you're already 9 months old, and old age already started the moment you're born. So where is the birth and where is the old age? And birth is happening, old age is happening, and death is happening, and all the time what we call momentary old age, momentary death is all happening. So all the time is happening. And there is not one period or another period. And so there is no really inherent existence, birth or old age or death. So if you meditate on emptiness of birth, old age, and death, if you understand deep meaning of emptiness of birth, old age, death, then you can overcome fear of old age and death. One can overcome aversion to old age. Oh, I don't like become old, and I don't look good, and so on and so forth, and I look strange or look different, and so on and so forth. All those aversions are gone. Instead of you feel, oh, I feel good. I'm old now. I feel and accomplished a lot. I have done lots of things in life. I have accomplished so much. I like to celebrate my old age instead of feel aversion. And also like a death. Likewise, if you're dying with natural cause, dying with old age, due to old age, then death is completion of life, and it's time to celebrate. So these kinds of knowledge and arise from understanding of emptiness and interdependence of the birth, old age, and sickness. This is why Heart Sutra is very precious, very special, and it's when you read a short sutra, it's very sort of simple, and or sometimes some people think it's simple, and because they don't understand, right? And also a bit confusing and a bit negative. All the words like no eye, no ear, no tongue, but not only that, no attainment, no non-attainment. That's very confusing, right? And if there's no attainment, then why we are trying to attain something? Why do we meditate? And so it is not simple and not not so easy and either. And so it is very precious teaching, practice. So likewise here, Four Noble Truths, again here, so no suffering, no cause of suffering, no cessation of suffering, no path to cessation of suffering. Four Noble Truths. So we're not saying there is no Four Noble Truths. Buddha taught Four Noble Truths after his enlightenment. He enlightened in Bodh Gaya, then he walked over to Varanasi, crossed the Ganges River, he went to Rishi, Patana, Sarnath, Deer Park, and there he taught Four Noble Truths. The very first teaching of the Buddha is Four Noble Truths. Noble Truth of suffering, Noble Truth of the cause of suffering, Noble Truth of cessation of suffering, Noble Truth of path to cessation of suffering. So, again, the Four Noble Truths are also emptiness. Suffering is emptiness. Cause of suffering is emptiness. Cessation of suffering is emptiness. Path to cessation of it is suffering. path to cessation of suffering is emptiness. And now I will wrap up the Heart Sutra. I won't talk too much. Shariputra and those of you who wish to attain enlightenment, and you should practice Prajnaparamita. And Prajnaparamita is called mother of all the Buddhas, Prajnaparamita. We say Yum Chemo Sherabji Parude Chimba in Tibet, great mother and perfection of wisdom, and the mother of all the Buddhas. So this is a kind of analogy or example, right? So all the Buddhas of the past, the Buddhas of the present time, and the Buddhas of the future, and all the enlightened beings of the past, present, and future rely on perfection of wisdom. This is a way to become enlightened. If you would like to become enlightened Buddha, you should practice perfection of wisdom. Meditate on emptiness. Meditate on shunyata. And then one could become enlightened. For that reason, we call Prajnaparamita is mother of all the Buddhas, perfection of wisdom. And here it Heart Sutra mentioned, Tusum the number juba sangye tamjechan, sherabji parada shimbala dene. All the Buddhas of the past and present and future are dependent, rely on the perfection of wisdom. And now there's a dharani, and there's a mantra here. The mantra of perfection of wisdom, which is Om Gate Gate PARAGATE PARASAMGATE BODHI SOHA. And Avalokiteshvara said to Shariputra, this mantra or dharani is the mantra of perfection of wisdom. So what it means, like you meditate on this mantra and say this mantra, one will obtain perfection of wisdom. So the mantra Om Gate Gate PARAGATE PARASAMGATE BODHI SOHA is the essence of the Heart Sutra. This is the first kind of mantra. And it says here, the mantra of perfection of wisdom, mantra of Ripa Chimpyonga means mantra of great mind, great realization. Ripa Chimpyonga, Ripa is consciousness, Ripa is mind, Chimpo means great. It's a mantra of great consciousness, Mahachitta, Sanskrit word Mahachitta. And so when you meditate on the meaning of Prajnaparamita, meaning of mantra, the Gate mantra, then you will obtain realization of shunyata and realization of perfection of wisdom. Then your mind becomes the advanced mind. You are getting closer to enlightenment, and therefore your mind is the great mind, great Rigpa. So this mantra is also supreme mantra, an unequaled mantra, and uncommon mantra. This mantra is the supreme mantra and precious mantra. And mantra is protection of the mind, protection of the heart, and mantra is medicine for the mind. Remember, mantra is the medicine for the mind. And this mantra is the original mantra, one of the very first mantras, and we call dharani. Dharani is like mantra. And so just reciting this mantra is very powerful. It is healing our heart, healing our mind, and healing sorrow and suffering. Gate gate means going. Paragate, Parasamgate Bodhi, so going beyond samsara, going beyond the cyclic existence, and go beyond birth, old age, sickness and death, and going beyond suffering, beyond blames and so forth, and then one will become enlightened. and PARASAMGATE, Bodhi SOHA, going towards the enlightenment, reaching the enlightenment. And then at the end of the Heart Sutra, and the Buddha himself came out from profound samadhi of illumination, and the Buddha said, "Oh, good, good." He rejoiced to rejoice the dialogue that had the dialogue between Avalokiteshvara and Shariputra. He rejoiced. He gave his blessing. He gave a confirmation. What you discussed is perfect. I rejoice. And now it becomes the sutra. It actually equivalent of the teaching of Buddha, because Buddha himself gave blessings and confirmation. So so I think I will leave it here now. Thank you very much.